What is going on, sim racers? This week we're back with what I would call a simcade experience. We are on Forza Horizon 5, and I've spent the past 2 to 3 weeks since release here fine-tuning these wheel settings to get it feeling as sim, as real as possible for you guys. And this week, I'm going to show you all my settings. I'm going to show the wheel settings, the game settings, and I'm not going to lie, this feels, I'm going to go ahead and say 80% as good as Assetto Corsa. Which is kind of my baseline for how drifting should feel. Racing feels great on it too, but like as you can see, the biggest indicator is self-steer. If I go into a corner clutch kick, that wheel just snaps for me, and that's exactly what you want out of drifting. You're letting the weight transition. Oh, it's beautiful. You just ride it out, let the self-steer kick. And this car is something dumb like 1200, 1300 horsepower, which should be really hard to control, but with these settings, the wheel just kind of glides through your hands exactly like you want it to. And that's my biggest gripe with the Forza series is this environment. Everything is absolutely phenomenal. Being able to play with your friends, do drifting, drag racing, street racing with traffic, everything is phenomenal, but just getting these settings has been the biggest hurdle for me. But now that I have it, look at that. Yeah, you can just send it through corners, even a tight one coming up here. Yank that e-brake, get her sideways. No problem at all. Look at that. That self-steer just feels amazing. And I know a lot of people have been struggling with it. I've had a hard time myself. I first tried to go out and see what settings were out there for Forza Horizon, and not a lot of people had done it. And like I said, this is for my Fanatec CSL Elite. So if you have this exact wheel, this will be the exact settings. I imagine if you have another belt drive wheel, it might be close to this. And you might be able to use similar settings and still have it work. But if not, I know a few of the other guys I run with run a few different wheels, and we'll probably come out with a few different videos here to help you guys out, get the best experience you can out of this game, because like I said, the game itself, the core, is so much fun. It is the most fun that I think I've probably had in a game, but the physics just suck. There's no way to get around it. You have to find the right car, the right tire setup. Sometimes things grip way harder than they would ever grip in real life, and it's just not realistic, but the fun factor just cannot, it can't be rivaled. Maybe by some Assetto Corsa mods I've played that are similar, but look at that. Just show it, let it go of the wheel, let it do its thing. Unleash all 1300 horsepower and just let her eat. Alright guys, so that's enough of me driving around here. I just kind of wanted to show you how it looks, how it feels. And now let's get into the nitty gritty. Let me show you guys these settings so you can go ahead and just copy, paste them straight into your game. And hopefully you can have as good of an experience as I've been having with this game. Let's go. Alright guys, first off, I'm going to show you what I am running on the wheel itself. I didn't tweak a whole lot on here. What I've tried to favor is a lot of force feedback with a little bit of dampening so that I get that kind of crisp self-steer response out of the wheel. So on sensitivity, we're running auto because I want pretty much the maximum angle. I run this full 900 degrees, so it's as close to a real car as possible. Force feedback, I've kept that on 100, which seems a little bit crazy, but later on I'm going to show you guys how it dials it back by decreasing the dampening but keeping the force feedback. It's able to get that wheel to snap the way I want it to without it being super heavy. On the drift setting, I've got that on a 3 right now. That's just something I've kind of dialed in to get that feeling that I like. Force feedback intensity, I believe, is what this is acronym for. I've got that on 70 right now. I might take it back even a little bit further. On the roads, it feels amazing, but once you get off-road, it starts to get pretty heavy vibration. So I might tune that a little bit more. That could be to your taste. How much feedback you like to get to on the wheel off-road. Most of my stuff I like to keep on the street, but this game is a blast to do some off-road stuff with. Kept it on 100 here. Spring rate, 100 as well. Damper, 100 as well. Off on that one. 100 on there. So to run it back real quick for you guys, this is what we have. Sensitivity auto, force feedback 100, drift 3, 70, 100, 100, 100, off, 100. And that would run you through the settings here. And now let's take a look at what I actually modified in-game to get this. All right, guys, now we are in the actual settings within Forza Horizon itself. These are the most important in my opinion. The first one we're gonna get to, third one down, is invert force feedback. That needs to be on. I have no idea why you would want the feedback to be inverted, but if that's turned off, the wheel tends to just keep creeping to the outside and it doesn't have any self-centering ability. But if we turn that on, everything magically gets corrected. Don't ask me why, just is what it is. Steering axis dead zone inside I have 0, outside I have at 100, just so we get the full range of the wheel going back and forth there. Steering linearity I have also kept dead on in the middle at 50. This is supposedly supposed to be 1-to-1 linear mapping at 50, so I have kept it at that. Everything else here, these are all my pedals, my clutch, my handbrake, those are all the settings for that. Once we get down towards the bottom here, we get back onto some wheel settings. Vibration scale, I have kept at the default just at 0.5 there. Haven't messed with that too much, just because it felt pretty good just right as it was. The intensity only gets a little bit too much when I'm off-road, but we can address that later. The next two are very important. I think these are the keys to getting it to feel correct. Force feedback scale and center spring scale, these two right here. I have maxed those out completely. Force feedback at 1.5, center spring at 2. So if you do that there, that is what gets the wheel just that crisp self-steer where it can, on its own, just fully snap, lock to lock. Feels just like a real car when you let go of the wheel and the inertia kind of spins it for you. The next one is what makes that kind of, you can deal with it at that level. If we take the damper and we crank it all the way down to 0, we want absolutely no wheel damper scale. Otherwise, this feels so heavy that it's undrivable. And the damper that's in the wheel itself, what we just went over with the settings, kind of takes over for that, so we don't need to crank it up in the game. We can get rid of it, and that gives it a absolutely perfect feel. Next for that, we have mechanical trail scale. We left that at default, wasn't really too involved there. And with the force feedback minimum force, I went ahead and dropped that down to 0.7. Just so also, like I was saying, the wheel doesn't start to feel too heavy. You don't feel too bogged down. We still have great turn in. You can snap it, you can flick it. It goes back and forth and it feels great. So on the load sensitivity, we also kept that at 1. Road feel scale 1. The only thing I did drop a little bit is off-road feel. That I might actually drop a little bit more. Like I was mentioning earlier with the force feedback intensity, when I go off-road on this wheel, it is all sorts of vibrating through there, almost to the point where I'm afraid I'm going to break something if I hit a huge jump or rock or anything of that nature. So that I might drop a little bit further, but for now, that does feel good. Steering sensitivity, also just kept that at a 0.5. I'm not even sure if this affects anything. This is one of those things where, is this game even fully developed? It literally still says placeholder. Anything that still says placeholder, I don't think is a fully fleshed out game mechanic, so I would not worry about doing any of that. So right now we'll zoom out just a little bit so you can see all of the settings here right now. We'll hang on that for a little bit and we'll go back up to the top. And like I said, of these top values, invert force feedback seems to somehow be the magic button that makes this wheel feel good on here. So guys, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. If you guys made it feel even a little bit better in your opinion, or some settings you tweak differently, feel free to leave that in the comments. I'd definitely be curious to know what you guys think. And this is a game, Forza Horizon 5, that we are starting to live stream, and we would really love to make this a kind of community event. So any of you guys who see the live streams, who see this video, we'll leave down in the description our Discord channel as well as our gamer tags. So if you guys want to hop in with us and be on the live stream, you're more than welcome. The more the merrier. We've been enjoying this game a lot. These settings have kind of unlocked it for me. So until the next one, we'll catch you guys later.